Hello, my name is Delia Ketchum, the most pedal-rific MILF in the universe, and today I am going to Wonderland. To get to Wonderland I will have to follow a white rabbit, who will scream I'm late. So, I follow the furry little stud and I say, oh, you're late, alright, late for a soul scrub. Now come come here and take this tickling your ears with my toes. Don't even try to resist. Bag. That was swell, but instead of converting him into a podophiliac, he will just complain that he's even more late than before and runs off. And I will say I haven't met anyone who resisted my soul scrubs, and I don't intend to start, so I pursue the little cutie who heads down a rabbit hole. So naturally I will fall down and see a bunch of weird shit, as I go down like playing cards, mirrors and other weird shit, until I finally reach the bottom. Bottom. Bag. That was swell. I will see the rabbit run through a small door and I will ask the door how I get in, and he will say just drink from the bottle. So I take the bottle on the table and drink it, shrinking down to the door's size. But when I try and open the door he'll say that he's locked. Berg. But then looking at his doorknob will remind me of a penis, and I start to smear my sexy feet all over the doorknob like I bet you can't smell my feet, since the knob is technically your nose. And if not, I can tell you're getting aroused by this. And then unexpectedly the door will start spraying semen from his knob like. I guess his knob was a penis after all. And the room will be filled with semen, and I float into the door's keyhole mount through a river of cum. Bag. That was swell. When I finally reach shore I will see those chubby studs Tweedledee and Tweedledum. But, before they can start their story, I stop them in mid-sentence and say I'll give you studs a swell story, and I'll soul scrub you with my sexy feet, while I tell it like there once was a swell French footster, named Aunt Delarobia, who was on the beach flaunting his sexy feet to all the podophiliacs. He came across a walrus and a carpenter, who were looking for some oysters, and Aunt was like, ooh la la, today's my lucky day, and he gives these phenomenal studs the usual Ketchum clan welcome like the time has come my sexy friends, to talk of other things like heels and toes and slender soles, cabbages and kittens. That's why my feet are smoking hot, and why they spread like wings. Kalukale we'll fuck today, with cabbages and kings. Bag. That was swell. After Ud's feet get covered in semen in the story and mine get covered in semen in real life, I will come across a house, and wouldn't you know it I find the white rabbit. But he will mistaken me for his wife and send me in the house to look for his gloves. I go in the house and see a plate of tarts that say eat me on them. So, I take a bite of one of the tarts and I grow to giant size. The rabbit will then mistaken me for a monster, and he will send a lizard named Bill up the chimney to flush me out. I grab Bill with my sexy feet and start soul scrubbing him, Godzilla style like your slippery lizard skin, plus my foot sweat makes great pedal loop. And Bill will get so aroused by my soul scrub that he come shots himself clear away like bag. That was swell. After that I shrink back to normal size and realize the white rabbit's gone. I start to go look for him in the forest, and I find a big blue caterpillar. The caterpillar will take a puff from his opium and say, who are you? And I will say, what? Are you kidding? You've never heard of me. He will continue looking hollow like and repeat, who You're fine, Delia fucking Ketchum bitch. You've got such a long stomach, so expect a long soul scrub. Using your opium pipe as a dildo. How does the little poke milf with her shining sparkling feet attract so much attention when she's walking down the street? How cheerfully she sways her legs, how neatly she wiggles her toes, and wraps her soles around a cock to feel the pleasant blows. And speaking of which, let me rub your cock with my feet. Now you know who I am. She bag. That was swell. After that I will hear singing and music in the distance, and so I make my swell way to its location. I see a midget in a hem and another rabbit, and they're having a tea party, and I say hello there my good men, and the rabbit in the suit will come up to me and say, aren't you going to say you're the Puke Muppet? And I say, but I'm not the Puke Muppet, and they will get shocked and act all afraid at first, and the midget in the hat will say, would you like a cup of tea? I then say, oh you bet I would. They then instantly get happy and take me to the table. I then tell the Mad Hatter that I want my tea to be made with hot boiled foot sweat, and I want a jam-flavored cream, and petal blood sugar to go with it. And for the first time in Speakonia history I actually get what I want without any trouble. On one hand, I'm glad I got my foot-tastic tea. On the other hand, I'm really pissed off that the fourth wall has been shattered so carelessly, and so, after I get done with said tea I will jump up onto the table and say that wasn't how it was supposed to go. You were supposed to get disgusted by my request and call me a sick fuck. By not doing so, you have shattered the fourth wall, and now I am gonna go ahead and show you the true definition of a sick fuck. Like why is a raven like a writing desk? Here's a better riddle. Why is a foot like a prostitute? They'll both give you satisfaction. Now let me rub your cocks with my feet. A very merry birthday to me. She bag. That was swell. After that I will head down to the Queen's Garden and see those card studs painting the roses red. I walk up and say, you should be painting those roses pink, so that they are the color of sexy, smooth-looking bare feet. And then I start rubbing my feet on the humanoid cards, and they will get so turned on and turn into podophiliacs and start painting all the roses pink. Bag. That was swell. And then the White Rabbit will finally show up and say, what the fuck, those roses are supposed to be red, the Queen is not gonna. And then the Cheshire Cat will come out of nowhere singing a verse from the Jabberwocky poem, and he will pin down the White Rabbit, so that I can have my swell way with the little long-eared lover boy. Like and I know that the verse the Cheshire Cat sings is from the Jabberwocky poem, because Mr. Toad 525 saw that 1985 Alice in Wonderland movie which had a Jabberwocky in it. It was scary as fuck, and it gave him nightmares for a whole year. Just type in Alice in Wonderland 1985 on YouTube and see it for yourself. Well, I just demolished the fourth wall, so here's your happy ending. Now make the bottoms of my feet match the color of your fur. She bag. That was swell. Just then the Queen of Hearts will storm out of her office and really ask, what the fuck is going on here? I say, hello, my name is Delia Ketchum and I was just turning Wonderland into Hornyland, and she will get pissed and scream at the top of her lungs, you sick fuck, off with her head. I will grab her by her dress and say I'll show you the true definition of a sick fuck, and the foot smothering session begins like yes, your majesty, using your heart scepter as a dildo, your crown also makes a great dildo, I knew it. You're a hermaphrodite. Now I'm gonna rub your cock with my feet. Rub. Now off goes your head. She bagged. That was swell. Oh my god. This all sounds so really super duper foot rubbing, soul licking, toe sucking, heel sniffing. Let me put the pedal to your penis to jam sundae with a cherry on top. Mega stomp swell. I think I'll go to Wonderland right now. Bye bye.